Hey guys, it's Drew, and today I'm going to show you how to DIY emboss metal. I saw a video the other day where I thought they were going to show how to do that, but it turned out they were just using an embossing machine, and those can be pretty expensive, and I don't have that kind of money to spend, so I figured out a way to do it for much cheaper and much easier. So you're going to need some metal. I just cut up an old soda can, cut off the top, cut off the bottom, and then made it a flat sheet. And you're going to need a ruler or a straight edge. A square is what I use to cut out my shapes. You're going to need a knitting needle or something with a dull point that you can use to emboss, but not too sharp that it'll cut the metal. I also used a small crochet hook because the point was small enough to get into small places when I needed it. You may use a pencil if you want to, a pair of scissors that won't get ruined by metal. And then I had some stencils on hand, just various shapes that I thought I might want to use. Here's another thing of stencils. And any shapes, I mean, you can freehand it, but I just wanted those stencils, and I had them all on me because I didn't plan the design ahead of time. I just did it as I was going along. So I'm taking the square and I'm going to trace around it with a needle just to make a mark so I know where to cut. And I did this on the silver side so that I would be able to see the marks, but you're not going to see them in the end, so it doesn't matter. But you need to be careful when you're embossing. You need to do it on the opposite side of whatever you want to show. So when I start embossing, I'll flip it over and I'll start writing on the Coca-Cola printed side so that the silver side is what will be embossed later, because I recorded a whole video with that and I realized I did it on the wrong side and I had to start all over, and I was really disappointed in myself. This is one of the ones that I finished. I put it on paper and gave it a nice border. Okay, so you're going to begin. You also need some foam underneath. If you do it on a hard surface, it's not going to emboss, so you need to have something underneath it. So here I was just starting to trace some shapes. You don't need to do it too hard because you're going to go back with the knitting needle. This is just kind of like a pencil sketching. So now I go back with the knitting needle, and I'm just pressing as hard as I can, going over it a couple times because you really want it to show. And don't worry if it looks a little messy because you're not going to see it on the other side. That's why it gets flipped around. And just do whatever shapes you want if you want to plan ahead, or just go, do it as you please. Here I realized I started to do it on the silver side again, and that's wrong, and I realized my mistake, so I flipped it over and I did that again. So I'm just using various designs and just drawing on the metal, using some freehand there just to go around the hearts. And just, if you mess up, you can always like push the metal back down. But it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to know what your intention was. It'll look cool either way. I messed up a couple times, but it still looks really neat in the end because it's just a really cool pattern. So now I'm freehanding some stripes, and now I'm going to start doing some dots. And this took a long time because you have to use a lot of pressure, and my hands started to hurt. And I'm a very slow dotter, so it was kind of painful to sit there and forcefully poke dots into a sheet of metal. But it looks really cool when you're done. It's a nice texture on the other side. Okay, so now I'm done. This is the finished product. You can put this onto a card, onto a notebook, a book, a binder, anything you want. The first one I did, I put it onto paper and I covered the paper with some tissue paper to give it a nice color, and then I put a lot of glue down and I let it dry in a book for 24 hours because the metal does have a tendency to bend because you've carved all these lines into it, so you need to make sure that wherever you let it dry, it's under a lot of pressure, and that's how you know it'll dry nice and flat. And then you can see all the nice texture, and this is the first one I did. It's just glued on white with a nice purple background, and you can't really see because of the video, but it's got a nice texture. And so I hope you guys enjoy this video. Thanks.